Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face while you're sleeping. Buckle up and hold your breath. We're not going to take the easy road on this one. Today, we're going to take all the favorite routes of a daredevil, one with a death wish. These are the most treacherous roads that have humbled several egos, vertigo-inducing mountain passes, isolated dirt and gravel roads that are in pretty gnarly conditions, and crazy winding roads that will put your driving skills to the test. And some roads here will lead you to the middle of nowhere. You better hope the car doesn't die on you. Without further ado, let's hit the road to the most dangerous routes you'll find on a daredevil's bucket list. And be sure to stay to the end of the video to find out why this road in France disappears 13 feet under the Atlantic. Number 10. Pedopolo Pertikaki Road, Greece. We'll start with this treacherous road in Greece, located in the northeastern part of Antalya, Acarnania. This is a narrow surface road that is bedeviled with large bumps and dreadful potholes. These loathsome potholes and bumps not only make for the most uncomfortable ride on this roadway, but they also cause vehicles to choke up on the steep climbs. Being mostly unpaved, you can imagine how dangerous it is driving on this narrow and snaky dirt road. And it gets very slippery when it rains. The clay surface becomes a thick mud blanket which swallows up every vehicle passing through. Over and above that, the area is prone to mist and fog, which can get quite dense. Driving in the low visibility condition becomes a problem, causing the numerous perils that are reported each year when daring drivers challenge themselves to deadly thrills. This route has humbled even the most daring and confident drivers. So, unless you're an adrenaline junkie, you might want to cancel your trip to this road for now. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works. Number 9. Pillarpangi Road, India. A hair-raising road only for daredevils and drivers with nerves of steel. This Rocky Mountain Pass is India's most dangerous road. It's a 114-kilometer roadway built by the locals hundreds of years ago to connect with the mythological valley of Pangi. It is, however, only usable during summer since snowfall renders the road impassable and leaves the Pangi Valley completely isolated for months. The roadway is in bad shape, and it is only about as wide as a car's width. One wrong move could send the vehicle 760 meters down a vertical drop. The absence of a guardrail, slippery mud, vertical cliffs, and the dangerously overhang rocks at every turn make this harrowing dirt and gravel route look more terrifying. Winters are particularly hazardous since even a thin layer of snow on the roadway makes it slippery and messy. If you're a daredevil with a bucket list that includes a 2-day ascent on a frightening, single-lane, isolated mountain road, better stick to watching these roads on travel blogs. Number 8. Zoji La Pass, India. This incredible narrow mountain pass in the Himalayas is located at a stupefying 3,500 meters above sea level. It is an important route connecting Ladakh to Kashmir Valley, but anyone who's been here will tell you it is not the place for a joyride. Being the second highest pass in the world, the Zoji La is reckoned to be one of the most gnarly passes in the world, but the terrifying drop-offs and absence of barriers on this strip of rock road are not the only things giving bold drivers the willies. Not only is the narrow driveway tricky to maneuver, but it is also not uncommon for large herds of cattle to block traffic on the road. With no way to turn around, drivers have to stop and wait until all the livestock have safely passed through and continue their journey. Backing up on this inclining narrow road is tantamount to a death wish. Number 7. Tianmen Mountain Road, China. Also called the Road to the Sky, this steep mountain pass in China's fantasy world offers the most breathtaking views of the imposing surrounding mountains. But drivers are warned not to be taking in too much by the magnificent old trees, vines, and vegetation of the area. They might forget about the 99 hairpin turns that they have to make to the top of the driveway. Because of this, the Tianmen Road has been ambiguously described as being both the most beautiful and imposing road in the world, as well as the world's most dangerous road. Here, each turn ahead is more dangerous than the last, and misjudging a single turn could mean certain death. The road zigzags its way up to 1,200 meters above the ground, making it even more dangerous if you're a wild driver. What's more, the road is narrow, so you have to be mindful of incoming traffic. Although large vehicles and trucks are not common on this road, when you see one approaching, you better give it right of way. Number 6. Guolang Tunnel, China. Also known as the Long Corridor and Cliffs, the Guolang Tunnel is one of the deadliest roads in the world. It is located in Henan Province, central China, and was constructed to provide access to a remote village at the top of the mountain. This is not an easy way up. The tunnel that makes the road is a mere 4-meter width carved by hand along the side of a mountain. The route passes through intervals and roughly carved pillars, which, although not entirely safe, are the only things keeping cars from plummeting to death. The tunnel's twists, turns, and slippery blind spots make for tight driving that is sure to leave any driver spine-chilled. Even though the locals Shanghai their way easily through the tunnels, don't be fooled into thinking it's an easy drive up. The steep incline can prove to be too much, even for a skilled driver who's not familiar with the road. As the locals say, you need monk-like focus to drive on this deadly road. One tiny mistake, and it's big trouble in Little China. Number 5. Yungas Road, Bolivia. Driving in Bolivia is on the right-hand side of the road, but on the Yungas Road, you have to keep a left. This is a roadway you are sure to find on every list of the most dangerous routes on Earth. The terrible driving conditions and precarious high cliffs have earned this road the nickname Death Road. Most of the road is barely wide enough for traffic to move in both directions. You can imagine how nerve-wracking it must be to have to back up a vehicle that's on the unpaved cliffside. One wrong turn and you're falling off, 600 meters into the abyss. And if that's not enough, drivers and riders have to look out for unexpected large rocks jutting out of the road at almost every turn. And then there's the heavy rain and fog that brings the already dangerous road to a head. Drenched, the road forms a small waterfall that pours heavily from the cliffside onto every lower level of the roadway. Throw in the occasional mudslides and tumbling rocks, and you have yourself a bloody medley of terrifying driving conditions. Number 4. Dalton Highway, Alaska. This is the most isolated road in the world, so if you're going to drive along this road, better have some food and your survival supplies packed. Like most roads in Alaska, the James Dalton Highway passes through the most remote and least inhabited areas. The road is 666 kilometers between the Arctic Sea oil fields and yet another dispersed town in Alaska. That's miles and miles away from civilization. And did you notice how long the road is? 666 kilometers! We could talk about this infamous number for another hour and somehow connect the Dalton Highway to the Antichrist, but that'll be too long and it will bore you to death. Let's just say the road is 414 miles long and leave it at that. Moving on, this road is plagued with potholes and small flying rocks, which, although not dangerous, can cause a chip to start on your windshield and turn into a crack. Drivers here go slow with the windows down and radio blaring. Come winter, roads in Alaska reclaim their title of being the suckiest roads. Ice road truckers are all you'll see during the highway. And even then, they'll be far and in between. If your car happens to break down on you in the middle of this road, you're on your own for days, if not a week. Number 3. The Deception Pass Bridge, Washington. When someone at Google tried to tinker with the Google Earth code, the platform had a meltdown and was not able to project 3D map images correctly onto the platform. The malfunctions made some of the world's famous roads and bridges flop and look as if they were levitating. The Deception Pass Bridge looked surreal, warped like it had no backbone. It could have proved impossible to drive on the sharp inclines of the bridge if it was built as it was projected during the bizarre glitch at Google Earth. Thankfully, that is not how the iconic Deception Pass Bridge looks. In reality, the bridge is parallel to level ground, so it does have a backbone. However, that's not to say that visitors should drop their cautions regarding this bridge. Its height from the roadway to the rushing water directly below is about 55 meters. The road is also quite narrow, making for a hair-raising ride every time there is oncoming traffic. But perhaps the most disturbing thing about this bridge is its deadly history with suicide jumpers. There have been over 425 jumpers who took their own lives jumping off one of the bridges. Now it's time for today's best pick. We have this photo that was sent to us by a subscriber, just like you. Although it looks obviously photoshopped, we did some digging and found that the road was real enough. And yes, the road does dive into the ocean. Let's find out more about it. Number 2. Le Passage du Gois, France. This is a treacherous road in France, running under 13 feet of salty brine of thrashing waves. It is impossible to use it when it's all flooded. However, there is a short window period where the tide goes down and the road then becomes visible again. It is only then, when the tide is down, that vehicles can move on it. But that's only about an hour, and even then, the road becomes slippery and almost completely covered in seaweed. When the high tide comes in again, the road surface floods a whole 13 feet inside the Atlantic. The road is a natural stone passage connecting the coastal town of Beauvoir-sur-Mer on the French mainland to the island of Noirmoutier. It spans a whole 4.5 kilometers. The only other road like it is the causeway in Jindo, Korea, which runs under 3 kilometers. What makes this stone route in France dangerous is that drivers who miscalculate the tide timing will find themselves sinking in the middle of the road, at which point the only way to survive is to abandon the car and swim for shore. Number 1. Atlantic Ocean Road, Norway. This unique stretch of road is known as the world's most beautiful drive. It has become something of a natural tourist route, with both locals and foreigners falling in love with the amazing coastal scenery, culture, and history as they drive along the road on a sun-soaked and serene summer day. But very few people know of the rough experience that's in store for drivers who find themselves on this very same road when a storm is brewing. The harsh, foam-sprayed journey that drivers experience is a sharp contrast to the scenic trip they had when the ocean was flat calm. This 8.3-kilometer drive is the only road connecting Hustadvika and Averøy municipalities through a series of 8 bridges running across a group of small islands and islets. This means that the road will take you right into the Atlantic Ocean. In a high tide, ocean waves crash ferociously against the road, and the water that finds its way over the road is capable of washing vehicles right into the ocean, turning the love affair for this scenic road sour really quickly. Yikes! We've come to the end of our video on the most dangerous roads in the world. We hope you're going to avoid these perilous routes. But hey, if you're looking for some gripping thrills, you know where to start. Since you're here, we have a small favor to ask. Click on the like, subscribe, and bell buttons, and we'll notify you every time a fantastic video just like this one comes up. See you at the next one.